The huge round chamber on Nexus Prime never changed. 317 species sat in perfect circles of black stone seats. Each seat was carved for the exact body shape of its owner. Tall, thin beings from the light worlds of Calith. Short, heavy creatures from the deep mines of Thrax. Floating gas clouds held inside crystal jars from the Nebula clans. Every kind of life the galaxy knew sat there. They spoke in calm voices. They argued about trade taxes, about which planets could be mined, about which new species could be allowed to join. They did it the same way for 700 years. No one ever raised their voice too loud. No one ever stood up suddenly. Everything moved slow and careful, like old machines that never break. At the very bottom ring, the lowest level, there was one empty seat. A small metal plate on it said, Terran Concordance. No one had sat there in 400 years. Long ago, a human ambassador came once. He wore simple gray clothes. He spoke short words. Then he left and never came back. The Council sent messages to Earth many times. No answer ever came. After 100 years, they stopped sending. After 200 years, most forgot the seat was even there. Ambassador Vexlara was speaker this cycle. She was Calith, tall and made of clear crystal. Light moved inside her body like slow rivers. Every time the meeting started, she looked at the empty chair. She made a small sound that was almost a laugh. The ghosts of Saul are still quiet today, she said. The other delegates made polite clicking or humming sounds. It was the same joke for centuries. No one found it very funny anymore, but they still did it. On this day, the chamber was almost full. A new trade agreement was being discussed. The insect-like Thraxian Warmind wanted higher fees on metal shipments. The soft-furred Lyrani wanted lower fees for food grains. Voices rose and fell like gentle waves. Then the lights flickered once. Not strong, just a small blink. Every screen in the chamber turned black for 3 seconds. When they came back, one short message floated in white letters on every screen. Talks. That was all. No name, no picture, no explanation. Just those 2 words. The message stayed for 3 more seconds, then disappeared. Silence came fast. Real silence. Not the polite quiet they usually had. This was heavy. No one moved. Vexlara's crystal body made a small ringing sound, like glass tapped with a spoon. She looked around. Who sent this? She asked. No one answered. The Thraxian Warmind clicked his many legs. Probably a child playing with a deep space relay. Or a broken drone. We get junk signals every cycle. A few delegates nodded. They wanted to believe that. But the screens had shown the message in perfect galactic standard. No static. And it came through every security wall the Council had. That was not easy. Not even the best hackers from 100 species had ever done it before. An old historian from the winged Zoran stood up slowly. His feathers were pale gray now. He spoke in a soft voice. I remember something, he said. 412 years ago, the humans sent their last message. It was short too. They said, Saul turns inward. Do not expect further contact. The Council laughed then. We thought they were weak. We thought they would die out alone. He paused, his wings folded tight against his back. But the records also say one more thing. The humans asked to add one rule to the treaty before they left. A small line. We all agreed because it sounded like nothing. He opened a small data pad. Old yellow light came from it. He read the words slowly. If all talks fail, Terra keeps the right to answer alone. No more words needed. The chamber stayed quiet. Some delegates looked at each other. Others looked at the empty chair. Vexlara spoke again. Her voice was harder now. That was long ago. They were one small system, one blue planet and some rocks. What can one system do after 400 years of silence? The Warmind clicked again. Exactly. They probably killed themselves long ago. This is nothing. But not everyone agreed. A small jelly-like being from the water worlds made bubbles in fear. I have heard old spacer stories, it said in a wet voice. Stories about black ships that come from nowhere. No signals, no warnings. They leave nothing behind. The stories always end the same way. Never make the humans speak twice. A few laughed nervously. Most did not. Vexlara raised one crystal hand. Enough. We will check the message source. We will send probes to Sol. We will know in a few days. The meeting tried to continue. They talked about taxes again, but the voices were different now. Shorter, louder. Eyes kept going to the empty chair. Outside the chamber windows the stars burned cold and far. Nexus Prime turned slowly in space. Everything looked normal. But deep inside long-range telescopes, on the outer defense platforms, sensors started to blink. Very small blinks, very far away. In the direction of the old Sol system. A faint blue light appeared on one screen. Then another. Then 10. Then hundreds. Drive wakes. Thousands of them. All starting at once. All pointed the same way. All silent. The technicians stared. They did not report it yet. They just watched. The blue lights grew brighter for 1 second. Then they all went dark. Gone. No one in the council chamber knew yet. But the old empty chair suddenly felt heavier than before. The ghosts were not quiet anymore. The message did not cause screaming or running in the chamber. The council was too old for that kind of fear. Instead, everything moved slowly, like a heavy ship changing course. Vexlara stayed calm on the outside. Her crystal body glowed steady blue. But inside, tiny cracks appeared in her lower arms. Only she could feel them. She spoke into the quiet room. We will not panic. We will investigate. Send the message to analysis. Check every relay, every jump gate, every old probe. Find where it came from. Teams of technicians from 6 different species left the chamber fast. They carried data crystals and hurried to the lower levels. The rest of the delegates stayed in their seats. They whispered. They looked at screens. They tried to act normal. After 1 hour, the first report came back. A small, nervous Lirani female stood at the center podium. Her fur stood up in spikes. The message used no known relay path, she said. It appeared inside our own secure net. No breach detected. No trace of intrusion. Just there. Murmurs grew louder. The Thraxian Warmind tapped his claws on the stone. Impossible. Our systems are perfect. Nothing gets in without permission. The Lirani looked down. It did. Vexlara raised one hand. Enough. Call the historians. Open the sealed vaults. I want everything we have on Sol. Everything. That took longer. Some vaults had not been opened in 500 years. Dust covered the crystal locks. Old security codes had to be rebuilt from memory. Finally, a group of 5 old scholars came back to the chamber. They carried heavy data blocks, wrapped in protective cloth. The leader was the same winged Zoran from before. His name was Kaelvorn. His feathers shook a little as he spoke. We found more than we expected, he said. He placed one data block on the central table. It lit up. A hollow image appeared. Above it, a map of the old frontier zones. Red dots marked dead worlds. 420 years ago, Kaelvorn continued, 3 powerful enemy groups threatened the Council. The Devourer Hordes, the Tyrant Concord, the Voidborn clans. They were winning. They burned whole sectors. The Council prepared to lose half the galaxy. He pointed to the red dots. Then, In less than 30 standard years, all three vanished. No battles recorded, no peace treaties, no survivors. Their home systems became empty. Planets turned to glass, stations floated dead, ships drifted with no crews. The chamber grew colder. Even the floating gas beings inside their jars looked still. Kael'Vorn's voice dropped lower. The timing matches exactly with humanity's withdrawal. Sol sent their last message right after the last tyrant world went silent. Thought it was coincidence. We were wrong. He opened another data block. This one showed old council meeting notes. Yellowed text scrolled slowly. Here is the clause they forced us to add. We laughed at it then. We called it child talk, primitive pride. But look at the exact words again. The text floated large for all to see. If negotiations end without agreement, the Terran Concordance reserves final unilateral response. No further communication required. No warning period. No appeal. A long silence followed. The Thraxian warmind spoke first. His voice clicked hard. So what? They were one small system, one blue rock. How could they destroy 3 empires alone? Kael'Vorn looked at him. We do not know, but we have sensor logs from that time. Silent fleets appeared. No jump signatures, no radio chatter, no demands. They struck, then vanished. The few survivors described black hulls that drank light. Ships that moved without engines, we understood. A jelly being from the water worlds made soft bubbles. Old spacer tales say the same. They call it the quiet storm. They say never wake it. Vex'Lara felt the cracks in her arms spread higher. She forced her voice to stay even. This is history. Old history. What matters is now. That message came today. From Sol. We must know if they still exist. She turned to the technicians. Point every long-range telescope at Sol. Now. It took another hour to aim the big arrays. Nexus Prime had the best eyes in the galaxy. They could see dust clouds on planets 1,000 light-years away. The first images came in. Sol looked normal at first. The yellow star burned steady. Earth turned slowly, half in. Daylight. Mars had new green patches. Terraforming, maybe. The outer gas giants looked the same. Then one technician froze. He zoomed in on the Oort cloud, the distant shell of ice and rock around the system. Blue lights. Tiny at first. Then more. Hundreds, thousands, drive wakes, all lighting up at the same moment, all facing outward, all perfect silence. The technician's voice cracked. They are moving, all of them, at once. Vex'Lara stared at the screen. The blue glow grew bright for one heartbeat. Then it vanished. Every drive wake blinked out together, like someone turned off a switch. Where did they go? She asked. The technician checked again. His hands shook. Drive space. They jumped. No vector. No target lock. No trace. The chamber filled with low sounds of fear. Clicking, humming, bubbling, feathers rustling. The Thraxian warmind stood tall. His voice boomed. Let them come. We have fleets. We have weapons. One system cannot fight 300. But his words sounded empty now. Kael'Vorn closed his data block slowly. There is one more thing, he said. In the oldest vault, we found a sealed note from the first human ambassador. He left it the day they withdrew. He opened a small metal case. Inside was a single sheet of real paper. Very old, very thin. Kael'Vorn read it aloud. His voice was almost a whisper. We leave because you do not listen. We will return when words fail. When that day comes, remember this. Humanity does not negotiate with mirrors. We break them. The paper trembled in his claw. Vex'Lara looked at the empty chair again. It looked different now. Not empty. Waiting. Outside, the stars kept burning. But somewhere in the dark, thousands of silent ships flew faster than light. No signals, No warnings, and the galaxy began to feel very small. The council chamber felt smaller after the drive wakes vanished. Delegates sat stiff in their seats. Eyes moved from one face to another. No one wanted to speak first. Vexlara tried to take control. She stood taller. Her crystal body sent small flashes of light across the room. "We stay calm," she said. "We prepare defenses. Send messages to every member world. We ask for fleet readiness. This may be nothing. A show. A trick." The Thraxian warmind agreed fast. He clicked his mandibles loud. "Yes, we have the largest navy. 3,000 capital ships, 10,000 drones. Let them come. We will crush one lost system." Other voices joined. Some agreed. Some stayed quiet. The jelly being from the water worlds made slow bubbles. It did not speak. Its color turned darker gray. Orders went out. Across the galaxy, ships moved to battle positions. Planets raised shields. Stations powered weapons. Every council member prepared for war. But deep inside, many knew something was wrong. The silence from Sol felt too perfect, too clean. 2 days passed. No new messages. No ships appeared. Scouts sent to the edge of Sol space found nothing. Empty black. No wrecks. No signals. Just quiet. Then on the 3rd day, it happened. Without warning, 32 worlds saw the same thing at the same moment. High above their skies, huge shapes appeared. They did not jump in with flashes or booms. They simply were there. 1 second the orbit was empty. The next second, a black monolith hung still in space. Each monolith was the size of a small moon. Matte black. No lights. No engines glowing. No antennas. No ports. Perfect smooth surface that ate every sensor ping sent at it. On every world, the same single message began to repeat on all channels. Open bands. Military bands. Emergency bands. Even children's story channels. The same 2 words, calm and clear. No talks. Panic hit fast this time. On Calith Prime, crystal cities rang with alarm tones. Shelters. On Thrax, hive tunnels filled with soldiers rushing to guns. On Lyran fields, farmers looked up and dropped their tools. Fleets moved to intercept. Hundreds of ships surrounded each monolith, weapons locked. Captains demanded answers. No reply came. The monoliths did not move. They did not fire. They floated like stones in a pond, silent, watching. In the council chamber, every screen showed the same view. 32 black shapes over 32 important worlds. Vexlara stared at the images. Her cracks now reached her shoulders. Light leaked from them in thin lines. "What do they want?" she asked the room. No one answered. A Zoran scout pilot sent a brave message from near one monolith. His small ship flew close. He spoke live to the chamber. "I see no damage points, no gun ports, no shields active. Sits. But my sensors hurt when I scan it, like looking at nothing." His voice cut off. The link died. His ship still floated there on the screen. But the pilot did not speak again. The Thraxian warmind stood up. His claws scraped stone. "Fire," he ordered. "Test fire on 1. Low power. See what happens." A small frigate near the monolith over Thrax obeyed. It sent 1 plasma lance. Thin red line. It struck the black surface. Nothing. No flash. No mark. The energy simply vanished, like water poured on dry sand. The monolith stayed still. The frigate tried again. Stronger this time. A full barrage. Missiles. Kinetic rounds. Particle beams. All gone. Swallowed. Not even heat bloom. Then the monolith moved. Not fast. Slow drift. It turned. Not toward the attacking ships. Not toward the planet. It pointed toward Nexus Prime, toward the Council itself. Every other monolith did the same. All 32 turned in perfect sync. All faced the same direction. The chamber lights dimmed for 1 second. A new message appeared on every screen. Still just 2 words. But bigger now. Brighter. No talks. Vexlara felt cold inside her crystal core. She looked at the empty chair. For the first time in centuries, someone wanted to sit in it. But no one dared. Reports came in faster now. The monoliths began to drift again, not toward fleets, not toward cities. They moved toward one place only. The Nexus Archive. The archive was the heart of the galaxy. A huge Dyson sphere built around a small star. Inside it held every record, every law, every secret, every vote, every crime, every lie the Council ever made. Protected by the strongest defenses known. Gravitic lances that could tear ships apart. Reality anchors that stopped time in small zones. Fields that pushed enemies into other dimensions. No one had ever come close to harming it. Now 32 black monoliths drifted straight toward it. No hurry. No deviation. Straight line. Silent. The Council ordered every defense to fire. The sphere lit up like a star. Beams crossed space. Explosions bloomed. Missiles died in bright flashes. The monoliths passed through it all. Like smoke through wind. Untouched. They reached the outer shell. The lattice of perfect metal. They did not crash. They did not stop. They phased. Slid inside like shadows through glass. One by one, they settled into place. High orbit around the archive core. Perfect circle. No weapons fired from them. No troops came out. Just one thing. From each monolith, a single thin line grew. Hair thin, made of something no sensor could name, exotic matter. It reached down, touched the archive's data lattice, connected. For 17 long minutes, the galaxy waited. No one moved. No one spoke. Turned on at once. One image filled them all. Inside the archive's central nexus, a human stood alone. Plain gray clothes, short hair. No weapons, no armor. Behind him stretched rows and rows of glowing crystal stacks. Endless memory. The human looked straight at the pickup. His eyes were calm. He spoke in clear galactic standard. No anger. No shout. Just facts. We asked for a seat once. You laughed. We left. You forgot. Now we return. Not to join. Not to beg. Not to talk. We return to archive you. Every broken promise. Every hidden vote. Every dead world you called necessary. Every species you removed for balance. Every lie you told to stay in power. It all ends now. No more changes. No more hidden files. No more council truth. This is our final reply. The truth of it. Forever. The image froze, then vanished. At the same second, data packets rained down on every council world. Terabytes. Unencrypted. Unredacted. Proof of everything the humans said. Old votes to glass planets. Secret deals to starve populations. Engineered plagues. All with dates, names, signatures. The chamber exploded into noise. Shouts, screams, crashing chairs. Vexlara stood frozen. Her body cracked louder now. Light poured from the breaks. The monoliths pulled their filaments back. They drifted away from the archive. Then vanished, gone, like they never were. Silence returned, but different silence. Broken silence. The empty chair at the bottom ring looked bigger now. No one laughed at it anymore. The data packets hit every council world like a storm of sharp rain. Warning. No filter. Billions of files opened themselves on every screen, every pad, every public board. Names, dates, orders signed in glowing ink. Proof that the council had not just made mistakes. They had chosen evil many times and called it order. On Thrax, the Hive Queens watched old votes appear. votes to poison water on rebel worlds, votes to starve populations until they begged to join again. The queens clicked in panic. Workers stopped moving. Young soldiers dropped their weapons and stared. On Calith Prime, Crystal Family saw recordings of secret meetings. Meetings where they decided to shatter entire moons to stop mining strikes. Light inside the crystals flickered wild. Some cracked and fell silent forever. On Lyran Meadows, farmers read lists of engineered famines. Famines made to keep food prices high. Children learned their grandparents had died because someone in the council wanted more profit. Soft fur stood stiff. Quiet crying filled the fields. In the council chamber itself, chaos ruled. Delegates shouted over each other. Some accused others. Some tried to shut down the screens. But the data kept coming. New batches every few minutes. Fresh proof. Older secrets. Everything uneditable now. Everything forever. Vexlara stood at the center podium. Her body was breaking faster. Long cracks ran from her hands to her face. Light poured out in painful bursts. She tried to speak. Order. We must have order. No one listened. The Thraxian warmind roared at a Zoran delegate. You voted yes on the glassing of Epsilon 9. Your signature is here. The Zoran spread his wings in fear. I followed the majority. We all did. A water being bubbled loud. Council. You lied to us. Vexlara raised both hands. Her voice cracked like thin ice. We can explain. We can vote to classify this data again. We can. A new packet arrived. This one showed her own name. Vexlara of Calith. She had approved the quiet removal of 3 small species. Species too weak to fight back. Too small to matter. The record included her words from 400 years ago. Better gone than troublesome. The chamber went quiet for one long second. Then the shouts turned toward her. Vexlara stepped back. Her feet slipped on smooth stone. She looked at the empty Terran chair. For the first time, she felt small next to it. Outside the chamber windows, the stars looked colder. No black monoliths returned. No fleets came to conquer. Humanity had not attacked. They had only shown the mirror, and the galaxy hated what it saw. News spread faster than ships could fly. On every world, people shared the files. They copied them. They hid copies in deep vaults. They sent them to friends on other planets. No one could stop it now. Old governments fell in hours. Leaders who had sat safe for centuries faced crowds. Some ran. Some hid. Some stood and tried to explain. Crowds did not want explanations. They wanted truth. And truth had arrived without asking permission. In deep space, Council battle fleets received the same packets. Captains opened them in private, then shared them with crews. Guns stayed silent. Shields powered down. No one wanted to fight for leaders who had lied for so long. One old Thraxian admiral looked at the data on his bridge. He saw his own name on a list. He had led the fleet that burned a world called Vareth. On open channels. He remembered telling his officers it was necessary. Now the truth said it was not. It was just convenient. He turned off his command screen. He sat in his chair. He did not speak for the rest of the shift. Back in the chamber, Vexlara tried one last time. She walked to the Terran seat. She touched the metal plate with one trembling finger. The name Terran Concordas felt warm under her crystal skin. Strange. No seat had ever felt warm before. She spoke to the room. Her voice was small now. We were wrong. We thought power meant safety. We thought silence meant peace. We were wrong. No one answered her. Some delegates left their seats. They walked out. They did not look back. The chamber slowly emptied. Only a few stayed, the ones too shocked to move, the ones who still hoped it was a bad dream. Vexlara looked up at the high ceiling. The lights were dimmer now. Or maybe her own light was fading. She felt the last cracks reach her core. A soft sound came from inside her, like glass breaking under slow pressure. She spoke one last time, not to the room, to the empty chair. You did not come to kill us. You came to make us see. I see now. Her body shattered. Not violent, just quiet. Pieces fell like slow snow. Light scattered across the black stone floor. Then darkness took the pieces. The chamber was empty except for the chair. On distant worlds, people looked at the sky. No ships came, no bombs fell. But something had changed. The council that ruled with secrets could not rule anymore. The lies were gone. The truth stayed. And in the quiet that followed, many remembered the old warning. The one spacers whispered in dark bars. The one no one believed until now. Humanity does not need to shout. They only need to speak once. And when they do, galaxies listen. The black monoliths never returned. Sol stayed dark again. No messages, no demands, just silence. But the silence felt different now. Not weak, not forgotten. It felt like the pause before something bigger. Somewhere, on a blue world called Earth, people went about their days. They worked, they laughed, they built. They did not celebrate. They did not brag. They had simply answered, and the answer was enough. The Galactic Council did not explode in fire or war. It simply stopped working. In the days after the data flood, the big chamber on Nexus Prime stood almost empty. Lights stayed low. The black stone seats collected dust. Only a few delegates came back each cycle. They sat far apart. They spoke in whispers. They looked at the empty Terran chair like it might speak next. No new laws passed. No trade deals finished. No one dared call for a vote. Every hand that once signed orders now shook when they remembered the files. The truth sat heavy on every chest. On the core worlds, streets filled with crowds. Not angry crowds with weapons. Quiet crowds. People stood in lines outside government halls. They carried small screens showing pieces of the leaked data. They did not shout. They just waited. Waiting was enough. Old leaders resigned one by one. Some left in small ships during the night. Some faced public questions and broke down in tears on live feeds. Some simply disappeared. No one looked for them too hard. New voices rose, young ones mostly. They spoke of fresh starts, of open records, of no more secrets. Some worlds voted to leave the old council completely. Others stayed, but changed their seats. They moved the Terran chair up to the center ring. Not because humans asked, because no one wanted to sit near it anymore. It stayed empty, a reminder. Fleet admirals recalled their ships. Guns powered down. Shields dropped. Soldiers went home. Many burned their old uniforms. They did not want to wear the colors of a lie. In quiet bars on distant stations, spacers told new stories. They spoke of the black monoliths, of the single human who stood inside the archive, of the calm voice that said, "The truth forever." They raised glasses to humanity, not in fear now, in respect, and sometimes in shame. One old Thraxian captain sat alone at a corner table. He had once led ships that followed council orders without question. He stared at his drink. A young server asked why he looked sad. He answered slow, "I followed rules I never read. Now I read them, and I see what I helped do." The server nodded. Many felt the same. Years passed, not many, but enough. The council name faded. People called it the old chamber now. Meetings happened on smaller scales, world to world, sector. No single voice spoke for everyone. No one wanted that power again. Sol stayed quiet. No fleets left the system. No messages came. Scouts who went close to human space turned back fast. They found nothing to fight, only sensor ghosts, faint blue traces that vanished when chased. Some said humanity watched. Others said they had already moved on, to other arms of the galaxy, to new stars, to places no one could follow. One small probe from a brave Zoran scout reached the edge of Sol space. It sent back one clear image before it stopped transmitting. A single blue world, turning slow. Lights on the dark side, not war lights, city lights, normal, peaceful. The scout never sent another word. But the image spread. People looked at it and felt strange. Not fear, not hate, something closer to awe. The old ambassador who came centuries ago. Simple gray clothes, short words. A seat no one gave him. They remembered the joke. The ghosts of Sol are quiet. No one told that joke anymore. In the end, the galaxy did not fall. It changed. Slowly, painfully, but it changed. Old lies could not grow back. Too many eyes watched now. Too many copies of the truth existed, hidden in deep drives, carried on small ships, shared between strangers who once called each other enemy. And somewhere, far beyond the old borders, humans continued. They built, they explored, they lived, they did not conquer, they did not rule. They had only wanted one thing from the start: a seat, a voice, a chance to be heard. When no one listened, they waited. When waiting failed, they spoke. Once, and that once was enough. The empty chairs stayed empty, but its shadow grew long across the stars. Moments when the galaxy felt too big and too dark. People remembered the warning that spacers passed down like old family stories. Never force humanity to speak twice, because the second time might never come. They only needed one reply. And when it arrived, everything changed. Not with fire, not with fleets, not with demands, with truth. And truth, once free, does not go back into chains. So the galaxy turned on without the council that once ruled it. Smaller powers rose, new alliances formed, mistakes still happened, but fewer were hidden. And high above it all, silent and far, Sol burned steady. A small yellow star, one blue world, countless lives. They did not gloat, they did not parade, they simply lived. And in their silence, the galaxy finally learned to listen.